The diplomatic hall of the Draconian mothership hummed with ancient power. Rose Chen stood at the center, her hands clasped behind her back, projecting a confidence she didn't entirely feel. At 19, she was the youngest ambassador Earth had ever sent into deep space. And tonight, she would seal an alliance that could save humanity from extinction. Across from her, Chief Varithmark of the Draconian sovereignty towered 12 feet tall, his obsidian scales gleaming under the bioluminescent ceiling. At 750 years old, he had witnessed the rise and fall of 17 civilizations. His golden eyes, slitted like a serpent's, regarded Rose with barely concealed contempt. "A child," he rumbled, his voice like grinding tectonic plates. "Earth sends us a child to negotiate the sacred bond." Rose didn't flinch. "With respect, Chief Varithmark, I'm humanity's choice. Our customs may differ from yours, but I assure you, I'm fully capable of representing my species." Alex Morrison, her military attaché and closest friend, stood at attention near the entrance. The 23-year-old Marine had argued against this plan for weeks, but orders were orders. He watched Rose with barely suppressed anxiety, his hand never far from his sidearm. Not that it would do anything against a Draconian. The sacred bond was an ancient Draconian tradition. To forge an unbreakable alliance, the leaders of two civilizations would enter a ceremonial marriage, binding their peoples through ritual and quantum-entangled neural links. It wasn't romantic, it was political, strategic, and absolutely necessary. The Kroth swarm was consuming the galaxy, and humanity needed the Draconians' military might to survive. "Very well," Varithmark hissed. "Let us proceed. But know this, human, if you fail the trials of worth tonight, your species will be deemed unworthy of our protection. Earth will stand alone." The ceremony was conducted in old Draconian words that predated human civilization by millennia. Rose repeated the phrases phonetically perfect she'd spent 6 months learning the language during her journey through fold space. When the quantum crown was placed upon her head, linking her consciousness to she gasped. 7 centuries of memories flooded through her mind. Battles, losses, the weight of billions of lives. She felt Varithmark's surprise ripple through the link. He was experiencing her memories too. 19 years versus 750, and yet her mind held something his didn't. Hope untarnished by centuries of war. "The bond is sealed," the High Priest announced. "Now comes the trial of worth. Chief Varithmark, you may present your challenge." This was the moment everyone feared. The Draconians respected only strength, and their trials were legendary for their brutality. Alex tensed, ready to intervene even though it would mean his death. Varithmark's lips curled back, revealing teeth like swords. "Human Rose, I have seen your memories. Your species is young, weak, shortly. You possess no scales, no fire, no natural weapons. You cannot breathe in vacuum. You cannot perceive quantum frequencies. Tell me, why should the Draconian sovereignty shed blood for such fragility?" The assembled Draconian nobles rumbled their agreement. This was the question that would determine humanity's fate. Rose stepped forward, and through their neural link, Varithmark felt something unexpected. She wasn't afraid. She was, amused. "You're right, Chief," Rose said, her voice carrying across the hall. "We can't breathe in vacuum. We lack natural armor. We live, on average, maybe 80 years, if we're lucky. But let me tell you what humans can do." She pulled up her datapad, projecting holographic images into the air. "This is the Apollo 11 mission. 66 years after we first achieved powered flight, we landed on our moon using computers less powerful than the device I'm holding. We did it with mathematics, determination, and duct tape." Varithmark's eyes narrowed. Through the link, Rose felt his curiosity. "This," she continued, "is the Voyager probe. We launched it in 1977 with 1970s technology. It's still transmitting data from interstellar space, 150 years later, running on less power than a refrigerator light bulb." More images flashed. The Chernobyl disaster. When a nuclear reactor melted down, humans walked directly into lethal radiation to prevent further catastrophe. They knew they would die. They went anyway. The siege of Leningrad. Our people ate wallpaper paste and survived 872 days of starvation rather than surrender. The COVID-19 pandemic. We developed vaccines using brand new technology in under a year and distributed them globally. Varithmark's scales rippled a sign of disturbed contemplation. "You want to know why you should fight for humanity?" Rose's eyes blazed. "Because we don't know how to quit. Because we've survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and asteroid impacts. Because when we're outmatched, we improvise. When we're outgunned, we innovate. When we're dying, we adapt. She pointed at Vareth. You've lived 750 years. You've seen empires rise and fall. You've grown wise, powerful, nearly invincible. But you've also grown ... predictable. A dangerous silence fell over the hall. The Kroth swarm has defeated every conventional military force in this sector because they can predict conventional tactics. They've studied you for decades. But humans, Rose smiled, we're too crazy to predict. We're the species that strapped ourselves to controlled explosions to reach space. We're the ones who split atoms, decoded our own DNA, and built thinking machines. We've only been spacefaring for 150 years, and we've already colonized 12 star systems through sheer stubborn will. Through the neural link, Rose pushed one final memory to Varathmak, the image of Earth. That pale blue dot, fragile and beautiful, hanging in the void, and overlaid on it, the faces of 8 billion humans, different colors, cultures, languages, all working towards survival. We're not asking you to protect us, Rose said quietly. We're offering you something you've forgotten after 750 years of existence. Unpredictability, desperation, and the kind of batshit crazy ideas that come from a species that evolved to throw rocks and somehow ended up splitting stars. Varathmak stood silent for a long moment. Then, something unprecedented happened. The 750-year-old chief of the Draconian sovereignty threw back his head and laughed. Sound like thunder rolling across mountains. By the ancient flame, he roared, you are insane. Your entire species is beautifully, gloriously insane. He looked around at his assembled nobles. And that is exactly what we need. He turned to Rose, genuine respect in his eyes. The bond is accepted. The alliance is sealed. But know this, Rose Chen of Earth, you humans had better survive this war. The galaxy needs more of whatever madness birthed your kind. Alex released a breath he didn't know he'd been holding that night. As news spread across the galaxy that humanity had gained the Draconian sovereignty as allies, military analysts were shocked. The Kroth swarm's probability matrices suddenly became unstable. How do you predict a species that defies prediction? Rose stood on the observation deck, looking at the stars. Varathmak joined her, his massive form surprisingly quiet. You know what shocked them most? He rumbled through their link. Not your words. Your absolute certainty that you would win. Your species has no logical reason for that confidence. Rose smiled. Maybe that's the most human thing of all. We believe we can win, so we keep fighting until we do. Varathmak's scales shimmered with what might have been approval. Then let us teach the Kroth why betting against humanity is a mistake. And thus began the war that would reshape the galaxy, not because of draconian might alone, but because a 19-year-old human reminded an ancient species what courage looked like.